On Drop Rate is a series where I can only receive an item within its wiki-stated rate, but with a twist. If I receive the item before or on its rate, I get to keep everything earned during the episode, including the desired item. However, if I do not end up getting it, I have to forfeit all the loot earned to you guys, the viewers. Let's introduce today's challenge. With the release of the sailing skill came a bunch of new monsters to fight, and one of them can only be defeated while on a Slayer task, the new Slayer boss, the Shellbane Griffin. This boss requires 51 Slayer and 45 sailing to defeat, and drops the Bell's Folly in a tarnished version, at a rate of 1 in 400. By heading to the Giant's Foundry, this can be repaired to create a tier 65 stab weapon. And what makes it so special is that it actually has a higher stab attack bonus and melee strength than the tier 80 Grassy Rapier from the Theater of Blood, as well as also providing some additional defensive bonuses at the cost of a slower attack speed. And this is the item we're hunting today, so let's defeat up to 400 Shellbane Griffins with the goal of receiving the Bell's Folly. First things first, let's get 45 sailing, and luckily I've already been doing quite a bit of sailing, so we are level 43, so let's get that done. There we go, 45 sailing done. These levels in the beginning is honestly so quick with these Barracuda trials. But before we can actually do the boss, we need to do a quest. And during this quest, we do get this Tortogan shield, which is an absolute unit on my back. Which is actually essential for the boss, because with melee protect and this shield, it blocks all melee damage. Yo, look at that. That's the boss we're going to be defeating. Of course, he's not going to be located on this island, but we are pretty much done with the quest when this is defeated. But this is what the boss looks like, and I actually love the design. Absolutely demolished. That was so easy. I'm not sure how easy the actual boss is going to be compared to that, but if that's the level, it's probably not very difficult. 10,000 sailing experience all the way to 46 sailing. I'll definitely take it, but that is the quest completed and the boss unlocked. Now we just need to get on a Slayer task. Now, importantly, you do need to buy the ability to actually get Griffins as a task overall. It costs 80 points, and luckily I have 600 points already, so we're going to be buying that. We have 588 left over, and now it's simply time to spend all of these 558 points, or I guess 500 of them, on a block list. So the way that I went about this was block every single common task that is not Griffins to bump up the chance of getting Griffins as much as possible. And we ended up with 58 points left over and 1 block slot still open, and a 3.1% chance of seeing Griffins. But I'll be back in just a second with a bunch of points farmed up, and we can continue from there. There we go, we collected over 2,000 points, didn't take too long luckily with Wilderness Slayer, and we blocked Iraq sites. Well, I guess that is a Griffin task, technically. 55 is obviously the max I can go for here, so we have a task of 55 Shellbane Griffins. Of course, when you do get just a straight-up Griffin task, that would be a lot more of them, but I'll take it. Gearing up for this boss is slightly weird compared to most other bosses, because you need a weight of 45 kilos equipped to avoid one of its main mechanics. Additionally, as I said earlier, you want the Tortogan shield equipped, because that, along with melee protect, blocks every single melee damage. And you might be wondering why I'm using simply a normal black mask over a Slayer helmet. It's because it has a higher weight. And actually getting to the boss is ridiculously easy as long as you have fairy rings unlocked. You use the CJQ code and you are going to land almost exactly outside of the cave. You simply run a bit north and there is the boss cave right up there. The Shellbane Griffin boss has 3 main mechanics. The first mechanic is an orange blob that slowly travels towards you, and if it successfully lands on you, it's going to start corroding your gear. This deals a small amount of damage over time and can be removed by unequipping every single armor piece you have on you or just by defeating the boss. The second mechanic is a tornado mechanic that starts spawning wind tornadoes under your feet. You can either stack them up for one big tornado or spread them out for small tornadoes. Standing in these tornadoes deal more damage depending on how big the tornado is. And finally, if you have a weight over 45 kilos, you will see these stars above the boss's back. When this happens, you have to click on the boss and attack quickly to knock the boss back, stun it, and give you 2 quick attacks for free. If you do not do this in time, you will be instead knocked back and take damage. And there we go, that is the first loot of the boss, and we get a collection log slot, Griffin Feather, which is actually a guaranteed drop. Oh, and by the way, that first kill was only 37 seconds long. Of course, I have pretty high level gear compared to what the average person who kills this boss is going to have, as it's a mid-level boss or even maybe early level boss. So of course, as an average like level 70 combat player, you're definitely not going to get this fast kills. Oh, and I did forget to say that the Monster Monitor plugin unfortunately does not work for the bosses very new, so we have added the good old Rune Light tracker, which luckily does work, and that is now 3 kills for another 37-second kill. Actually, every single kill that I've done so far has been 37 seconds. That's kinda crazy. Oh my goodness, already after 4 kills, we have pretty much the most profitable drop you can get from this boss, except for, of course, the item we're hunting, the Bell's Folly, but rune cannonballs are actually not even that rare, and I think most of the money from this boss is going to come from these. If you have no idea what the rune cannonballs are, they are ammunition used for the cannon that you can have on your ship in sailing. So unfortunately, unlike a mistake I made, you cannot use these for the cannon that you use for PVMing like Slayer. And I accidentally on release bought like 10,000 rune cannonballs, so that was a fun waste of money. Again, because the boss is so new, there is no respawn timer on this, but I did time it a couple of times, and every single time it seemed to be around 17 to 18 seconds. And when you do leave the cave and enter again, the boss instantly respawns, so if you want to kill this boss as quickly as possible, simply do that. It's just a bit more click intensive than AFKing. Because the Scythe of Vitor actually gets all of its hits in here because of the size of the monster, I thought Crystal Halberd would be really good, and I mean, it does hit pretty decently, but it has a slower attack speed as well. I'm not super satisfied with it, so I'm going to try out another weapon that I think could do really well here. And that is actually the Dragon Claws, which I haven't had a good use for in a long time, so I had to buy them back again after selling them. But I think this is a good spot for them, so let's see, 244 experience drop and a 196. And the same attack speed as the Scythe of Vitor, so I can straight away start attacking again. This is editing Alonescape here, and I do want to say that my hunch was quite correct. Today, the wiki guide for the Shellbane Griffin was released, and the Burning Claws and Dragon Claws are cited as the best 2 special attack weapons here. And it seems like Dragon Dagger actually outperforms the Crystal Halberd here, so yeah, definitely do not bring the Crystal Halberd if you even have a Dragon Dagger. Look at that, we have a personal best of 25 seconds because of the Dragon Claws. Because I went into this boss not really knowing what to expect, I did think bringing Thralls would be a good idea, but because the boss dies so ridiculously fast, they barely get to do anything. And you do get a bunch of these rune items like Rune Claws and Rune Scimitars, and I think actually just bringing High Alchemy is going to make inventory management a lot easier. Now that is a drop. 3 types of Griffin Feather drops. That is insane. That has to be kind of rare. I know that one of them is always guaranteed, but the other 2 is probably just 2 Griffin Feather drops at once. You know, I've actually never tried to fully stack a tornado, so I do want to see how this looks. You can see the white circle under my feet is getting slowly bigger. And oh my god, look at that. That is a beast of a tornado. Definitely do not want to stand in that. But here we go, I am on the last kill, most likely at least, for the Shellbane Griffin boss task, and bringing High Alchemy was definitely the right call, because inventory management has been a breeze since then. But there we go, we managed to get 72 kills, and you might be wondering, how did I kill 72 when we got a task of 55? Well, it's because I'm using Bracelets of Slaughter, which has a 25% chance to not count a kill for the Slayer task, essentially extending tasks by 25%. Now, because I'm 99 Slayer, we have the Slayer Cape for a 10% chance of getting a back-to-back task, so are we going to be blessed? Oh, we are! No way! Another boss... Oh... Okay, we just get a random boss for the back-to-back. I thought I would get the same boss task. That is so unfortunate. Well, I guess we have to start skipping again. Oh, whoopsie. I was skipping a bit too fast, but we actually did get a task. It took a while though. I spent 900 points for that, and it's 131 griffins, which is actually kind of low because you can get from 100 to 210. But a task is a task. I'll take it. You know, normally I would not comment about getting a long bone from a boss like this, but it is a universal 1 in 400 drop rate, and that happens to be the same drop rate as the item we're hunting. So I guess kind of missed the drop. Not really, but you know, kind of feels like it. But with that kill, we are coming up on the first big milestone of the grind, 100 Shalebane Griffin kills. And the loot tracker says we made 1.8 million, which means each kill so far has been 18k of value. Which is not too bad on its own, but if we do get the Bell's Folly, it's actually currently at 10 million GP. So for roughly the past 50 kills, I have been tracking the Slayer experience an hour, and I do have to say, it's kind of underwhelming. With my gear, which is very, very good, I'm getting 27,000 Slayer experience an hour. And of course, if I had way worse gear, maybe I would be getting around 15 or even 10,000 experience an hour, which is kind of abysmal. So I would not do this boss for Slayer experience. But that is the 200 KC mark halfway through the grind, and we have not seen any single collection log slot except I guess the Griffin Feather, which is guaranteed in the beginning. So let's hope the last 200 is more eventful. You know, because the boss is so new and sailing overall is so new, I do want to see how much these items are actually selling for that is kind of exclusive to the skill. 3000 GP each for rune cannonballs and 800 for adamant cannonballs. These are definitely going above the price, and the feathers are also going above its value, but they're still not very valuable. But yeah, the rune cannonballs, 1.4 million is actually pretty good, and 900k from the adamant cannonballs. Yo, that's a drop you want to see right after talking about how valuable the rune cannonballs are. Double rune cannonball drop, 150k. Oh man, time to be put in a scary position again, trying to skip tasks for another Griffin task. We managed to get 174 done in that one by extending it quite a bit. And we're up to 245 Griffins, so one more task could be enough to finish this grind. And like an absolute idiot, I skipped way too fast, but there we go, we got another 183 Griffins, a massive task. And I still have 633 points, so we were actually very lucky getting Griffin tasks in general in this video. And that is going to be enough Griffins with my Slaughter Bracelet to end the grind. Oh my god, what? How did I get hit 47 damage? I've never been hit anything more than like a 20. I need to figure that out, that's crazy. Apparently, the tornadoes actually explode after 15 seconds and deal AoE damage in the entire boss arena. And it deals more damage depending on how big the tornado has been built up to be. And because I killed the boss so extremely fast every time, I never even saw this happen. So I built up a massive tornado to try it out, and look at that. 51 damage. So that is one of the reasons too why maybe if you can't kill the boss super quickly like I usually can, you want to spread them out in smaller tornadoes. Oh man, this is kind of sad, I'm not gonna lie. We got the first elite clue scroll of this grind, and we got it on 399 KC, one away from the big 400. No idea how rare this is, and the wiki does not know either. But unless we get the Bell's Folly here, we have a lost challenge on our hands. Rune Cannonballs for the final drop is some extra money, but yeah, that is unfortunately another challenge lost, and we are going to be giving away 10 million for this one, as I never give away less than 10 million. And of course, we did also get the one Elite Clue Skull, which I will add to the giveaway as well. And the amount we're adding is 78k. But even if we didn't actually get it ourselves, I do want to buy the new weapon and try it out to see how high I can hit with max melee. But first, we have to repair it. Alright, let's give this a go. We need 70 smithing for this, which luckily I have, so let's go ahead and use it on the polishing wheel for 500 smithing experience and the repaired Bell's Folly. So, let's see how high with a max melee strength and a strength potion I can actually hit with this weapon, which, by the way, 102 melee strength is kind of crazy. And it also looks really good. Let me move out a bit so you can see it. Really love the clean design on this one. Let's turn on Piety and attack the dummy. 59. And keep in mind that this is a tier 65 melee weapon. So this is definitely a weapon I would recommend for mid-game players to get. But that is going to do it for this video. If you want to join the giveaway, how you do that is on screen right now. We do all the giveaways through the Discord, and good luck to all of you who want to participate. But until next time, guys, take care.